the latest in Iran-Pakistan relationship. It seems there's now more trouble brewing. Remember, earlier this year, Iran and Pakistan traded strikes and struck each other's assets in their territories. Since then, the relationship between the two has been tense. And add to it, there's been a regime change in Iran, and now the latest reason for tensions to spike between the two sides is regarding the gas pipeline. The long delayed gas pipeline, it now seems that Pakistan has not met its side of the commercial contract, and Iran is willing to escalate that further. How will that impact the Tehran-Islamabad relationship and its impact on New Delhi is our big debate on India Global. Let me first get in my colleague Mohammad Ghazali to fill us in with the latest as far as what the tussle is all about, and then we take this forward. Over to you, Ghazali.
So, Iran and Pakistan signed this gas pipeline deal back in 2009, and after 2009, Iran claimed in 2011 that it had completed the side of the pipeline on its side, on its border, but Pakistan kept delaying it. And in 2014, Pakistan requested Iran that they want to extend the completion date by 10 years. That 10 years expires this month in September. And now, before that, Iran has been reprimanding Pakistan to finish that gas pipeline, because Pakistan is heavily dependent on Iran for its gas supply. More than that, what is the conundrum for Pakistan right now? Iran faces global sanctions, and Pakistan perhaps expects that US will give them some sanction waiver to continue this gas pipeline. But the United States State Department earlier this year had clearly stated that anybody who engages with Iran on business terms, trade ties, they will face action from United States. And Pakistan, considering itself to be a close ally of United States, doesn't want to upset United States. But US has not given any indication that when it comes to completion of this pipeline, whether they will give Pakistan any kind of leverage to continue and finish this pipeline. And now, the other dilemma for Pakistan is that Pakistan is also heavily dependent on Gulf states for its energy needs, and out of those Gulf states, Saudi Arabia is the leading state which provides Pakistan's energy needs. And Saudi Arabia is also not very comfortable with the fact that Pakistan, one of the Asian allies of Saudi Arabia in Asia, is dependent on Iran, or it will further its interest with Iran by constructing that pipeline. Pakistan also faces another problem, that is the International Arbitration Court, and Iran may drag Pakistan to the International Arbitration Court if it doesn't sort of meet the deadline for finishing this pipeline. So Pakistan has multiple problems right now. Its own economy is dipping. We know the problems there. And now Pakistan's Foreign Affairs Ministry has not hinted whether they have applied for any kind of waiver to the United States State Department when it comes to deal with Iran vis-a-vis this pipeline.
All right, Mohammad Ghazali, we leave it there. Appreciate you joining us to decode what the real dispute right now is between Iran and Pakistan. All right, Ambassador DP Srivastava, who's been Indian ambassador to the Islamic Republic of Iran, as well as Tara Kartha, who is former director of National Security Council Secretariat, joins me on the broadcast to decode this further. Tara, let me come to you first, which is that from Pakistan's options point of view, it's between the deep sea and the devil, really, you know. But at the same time, how does this impact its relationship with Iran and its larger ramifications for the region? That's really the big issue here. Your first take.
See, it is obviously Iran is very clearly annoyed. I mean, it has very good reasons to be annoyed because it has built its section of the pipeline, right? It built it long back. Pakistan, from day one, has been hanging back. And the reasons for that are plenty. In fact, most of us, you remember it was initially supposed to be an Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline. And we knew that was never going to happen, right? Though the pricing was terrible, the fact that the Saudis would get very annoyed was clear. So Pakistan, for various reasons, right from the beginning, was very hesitant about this whole thing. Then came the sanctions. Then comes the fact that, you know, they are. But the point here is they never asked the US for a waiver. To date, as far as I'm aware, which is from what the spokesman said in March, he said they have never asked us for a waiver. Okay, that is the second thing. Third thing is there is a very, very lucrative gas smuggling thing going on across the border. Everybody is making money. And that includes officials from the border guarding forces. It includes almost everybody.
So
on the
Iran is
ground.
basically going to call out Pakistan's bluff, right? And how does that impact the relationship? That's the point. It now needs to be ready to face the music.
Yes, it has, because Iran has got an open and shut case. It has gone in full faith on this contract, so has Pakistan. They've signed on to it, and now you say force majeure, we can't. And in fact, as recent as February, I think the parliament had given sanction for that 80-kilometer pipeline. And now they said, no, we can't build it at all. Like I said, there are all these pressures on Pakistan. So it's going to create a huge problem between these two.
Right. And as far as the security calculus for the region, you know, the instability between Pakistan, Iran, the fact that there is now a new regime in Iran, that complicates the security calculus for New Delhi. Break that down for us.
We have a waiver, right, for Chabahar in terms of dealing with Iran, but that is only for Afghanistan. In terms of getting...
No, I'm not talking about the waiver. I'm talking about the fact that an Islamabad-Tehran relationship reaching another low after what happened earlier in January impacts the entire region, creates more instability in the region.
Well, that area was always unstable. I mean, the Jaish-ul-Adl has been operating from Pakistan for years. And we also know that many of them were being backed by states whom I will not mention here. So that is already a given. The airstrikes happened, which was very unusual for Iran to do such a thing to a brotherly Islamic state, you know, all that stuff. I mean, this was an IRGC decision. How is this going to get worse? How does it impact the region? I don't see it going into some kind of a war-like situation, but I would imagine that the non-state assets would be further, used, because Pakistan accuses Iran of sheltering Baloch. You just had that huge, massive Baloch protests. How did that happen? It's obviously these are operating from Iranian soil. So all that we can expect that will go up, because Iran is has a lot going on this deal. So if they back off now, those assets could be used further. So Iran uses its assets, Pakistan uses its assets. So yeah, we are looking at a very troubled future ahead. And plus the money which Pakistan has to pay. That's going to be...
Let me ask that to Ambassador Srivastava as well. Sir, how do you read the situation and the security calculus, how it's likely to change given these developments?
The security situation is linked to internal situation within Balochistan, where Pakistan has conducted 5 military operations since inception. And the situation has become worse with the Chinese coming in. And this has naturally resulted in a lot of resentment. The CPEC project is not bringing jobs to Balochistan. It is generating jobs and economic growth in other parts of Pakistan where industry will be set up. The pipeline issue, of course, has been there since 2013, and it must be remembered that there was a 2-year interim between 2016 and 2018 when there were no sanctions. So if Pakistan was sincere about building the pipeline, it had enough time to complete the project. It cannot at this stage get out of its international commitment. Iran has already sunk more than $1 billion in completing pipeline on its side of the border. And naturally, they would expect that Pakistan keeps to its international commitment.
Right. And the fact that Iran is set to take Pakistan to court because it is not fulfilling its side of these commercial contractual obligations, how do you read that impacting the relationship between the two? Do you see that souring significantly and its larger ramifications?
I'm not sure that Iran will actually go to that limit. They have raised this issue But we have to bear in mind that there's a limit to their patience, and take or pay clause. This is a standard clause in all international oil and gas contracts. In this particular case, it goes beyond technicalities. Iranians also suspect that it's not simply the US pressure, but also the inclination of the Sharif government, which is closer to Saudi Arabia. And this probably is the reason why Pakistan did not go forward with the project even during the 2-year interregnum when there were no US sanctions.